Boom. So like I said, I'm Jason. I served 6 years in the Pennsylvania National Guard from 2000 to 2006. I was in a long-range surveillance infantry detachment. And what that means is we traditionally would go out in front of the front lines, sneak in behind enemy lines, and report back what we saw going on behind the lines. That's not how war works anymore. We don't have front lines. So I ran a four-man sniper and surveillance team in Ramadi, Iraq in 2005 and 2006. For those of you not familiar with Ramadi, maybe you're familiar with Fallujah. Back in 2004, the Battle of Fallujah was a huge battle the Marines ran. They ran all the bad guys out of Fallujah and they went over to Ramadi right when we showed up. So Al-Qaeda in Iraq, and you've heard that, they later turned into ISIS, set up their shop in Ramadi. So at that time, it was considered the most dangerous city, I think, in the world, let alone Iraq. So lots of fighting going on there. So it was pretty bad place when I was there. On September 19th, 2005, I was blown up with an IED twice. And there's a definition of an IED. So that IED, I was out when I got hit. I was responding to an IED that killed 2 out of my 4 teammates and my lieutenant. And an IED, basically, as the definition said, it's just a homemade bomb that the Iraqis, they basically pillaged warheads from the Iraqi army when we came in and invaded them. And they took all that, the artillery, and they just rigged them up just to do damage on us. So what I brought here tonight, this is a replica. I promise it's inert. It's not live. We can try it out. Probably not, no. This is an 80 millimeter mortar round. Mortar rounds are traditionally fired through a tube. You put them in a tube and they go up in the air and they come down and they explode. And when they explode, this particular mortar has a 111-foot kill radius. So essentially, if launched from the air, this mortar could probably kill everybody in this theater tonight. I was blown up with 6 to 8 of these. What they do is they put them on the ground and they tie 6 to 8 together with explosives. And they put a little cell phone thing on it and they call it. And when they see you coming down the road, they would bury these under the dirt. So when you go over them, they hit the cell phone, the bomb goes off. And then you saw in this previous pictures what it can do to a Humvee. This happened to me twice within 5 minutes. Hit us first, and then the second time we were getting towed out by the Humvee and hit us again. So, I want you guys to raise your hand tonight if you've ever been blown up like I was in war with IEDs like that. Can't see, but it doesn't look like anyone's raising their hand. So like I said, look around the room. I don't see anyone with their hands up. So you were supposed to hear what an IED sounded like from a distance. It's a massive blast. It's almost deafening. It's like, take fireworks and just magnify it times 100. It's kind of what it sounds like from a distance. But now, I'm going to walk you through what it felt like to get blown up being directly on top of one. So do me a favor, keep your eyes open. Use your imagination with me. Picture yourself in the desert driving down a long, dusty dirt road. You're inside a crammed Humvee. You've got body armor on. It's 100 plus degrees outside. Your mind is racing as the reason you're out there is that you're trying to find the insurgents that just killed your friends. Your emotions are mixed with hatred, fear, sadness, but your main focus and you're concentrated on the mission in front of you. You still have a job you have to do, right? So you're driving, you're in the back seat, you're behind the driver, your vision's a little obscured. Get ready. Here it comes. All of a sudden, everything goes black. Boom. So that's what it felt like to me. Literally just driving down the road, everything went black. I felt that whir, that kind of ringing sound. There was dust and smoke everywhere. And the big boom you were supposed to hear, that didn't happen. Didn't hear it, didn't feel it, didn't see it, didn't see fire, didn't see anything. And I explained to you what kind of explosion was underneath us, right? So, now I want you to think about something that's bad that's happened in your life, right? So it could be anything from a physical issue, like breaking a bone or just living with chronic pain. It could be anything mentally harming, like losing a loved one, or anything little like break up with your first boyfriend, or something like that. And everything in between. It could be something as bad as losing a child. So think about just a bad time that's happened in your life. Boom. So keep your eyes closed. Now raise your hand if you've ever had anything negative happen in your life. Open your eyes and look around the theater. Everyone has their hand up, right? That's what I thought. Hi, I'm Jason, and just like me, you've all been blown up. Nice to meet you guys tonight. So, thanks for coming to listen to my story. Just a quick little background about me. I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, a long time ago in the year 1981. I have 3 brothers. My parents divorced when I was in 5th grade. I'm now happily married for 16 years, honey? You out there? In May, next month? I think it's a month away, right? So I'm not good at math, so don't hate me. We have 2 high school age children. One's about to venture off into the real world in a few weeks, and another one who just started out and is finishing up his freshman year. My life is and has always been pretty good, but it didn't come without its fair share of trauma, excluding my time in the military. As I took you through that exercise, I began thinking about all the times I've been blown up in my life. My brothers, I said I had 3 of them. One's a year older, one's a year younger. And another one came around about 7 years after me. So you can only imagine the kind of trouble we got ourselves into growing up. I remember when we threw rocks down a sewer or like a water pipe in our yard, and my dad, we were around like 5, 6, 7 years old. My dad took these brand new lightsabers we had for Christmas, and he put duct tape on the end of them, and he was like trying to fish the rocks out of the pipe, right? And I got grounded for a week. And grounding back in the 80s isn't like grounding. You don't just lose your phone. We didn't have phones. Like, you literally sat in your room for a week and beat your brothers up, right? But everything went black in that moment, right? At 6 years old. It's the worst thing that could ever happen to you, lose your lightsaber. We're huge Star Wars fans. And then in 5th grade, my parents divorced, and my mom kind of deceptively took us back to Louisiana, kind of lied to us while we were going down there. Everything went black. Right? High school football. I lost my last game by a touchdown, missing the playoffs, effectively ending my high school career. Last time I'd ever played a football game. Love football. Everything went black. But luckily, though, hindsight, age, wisdom, and life experiences taught me that some of those things that happened earlier in life really weren't that big of a deal. They weren't that significant, looking back on it. But at the time, they were. So as an adult, more significant events have happened in my life. So I'll take you through some of them. My wife got pregnant at the age of 20. We'd only been dating a few months. Everything went black. I found out that our daughter wasn't biologically mine, and she was conceived shortly before I met my wife's longtime high school, college boyfriend. Everything went black. Our son dealt with colic. If you've ever dealt with a colicky kid, everything went really black for a while. My wife was, sexually harassed and assaulted by a family member. Everything went black. Our daughter, later in life, went through some very difficult mental health issues, and we had to send her away for 3 months. Everything went black. So I've been asked time to time that if getting blown up in Iraq defines who I am. My tough guy, thick skin, nothing can hurt me attitude usually responds with no. But that event that day gave me 4 things. A little traumatic brain injury, anxiety, definitely, and wisdom. But the 4th thing, and perhaps the most important thing it gave me, was a second chance at life. And I'm going to go off script here for a second. I've had, between the military, 3 high school friends in my friend group, and people after the military, I probably lost, I can't even count anymore, 30 to 40 people in my life. My buddy Will, who was killed, my teammate, his wife was shot in the head 4 years ago by her new husband. It just seems that death just keeps it's always around me, right? So having the second chances is huge to me. But I'm now able to see all those events that have blown me up throughout my entire life. And being able to see those events through that lens, it's allowed me to live the most fulfilling life possible to this point. And I can't wait to see what my future holds. Every day I wake up happy. My wife says, "How are you so happy all the time?" It's like, because I know how close I was to never waking up again. I mean, inches. 1 second on that cell phone call to that bomb, and I'm not standing here. My son's not born at that point, right? So I know life is precious. It should never be taken for granted. And the second thing I learned was just you never quit, right? The one part about getting blown up that I'm able to rationalize, though, is this. I volunteered to be an infantryman. You know, if you don't know the military and infantrymen, they're on the front lines. They're the ones out there fighting. It's the Saving Private Ryan movie, all those movies where you see the guys with all the action. So, you know, we knew we were going to get shot at. We knew we were going to get blown up. We knew we were going to get injured, and ultimately we knew we were going to lose friends and our brothers there. We expected to die. We expected to come home with less body parts than before we left. The only thing I can't rationalize from those events is the why. Why wasn't it me? Why wasn't it my time to go? One thing I don't tell many people that my buddy Will, who died, we kind of went back and forth on who was supposed to go out on that mission that day. It wasn't our typical mission. It caused those guys to die, and we decided that he would go and I would take the next one. Is that fate? I don't know, right? You know, why did I survive? Why did they die? Is there a higher power making those decisions? If so, why did he choose them? Is that how it really happens? Like, if you believe in God, I do. Does he really pick and choose those things? But almost 20 years later, I can point to many different reasons why I should have survived. But I can't point to any reasons why my buddies shouldn't have. And that hurts a little bit. I don't struggle with survivor's guilt too much, but I do often think about the why. I go down massive philosophical rabbit holes thinking about it. Ask my wife again. She lives it. But the other events in my life and yours as well, we never saw it coming, right? Why do babies die a week after birth? Why does lightning strike people? Why do kids get cancer? Why do men beat women? Why do half the disgusting things in this world happen to perfectly good, law-abiding, society-contributing people? If any of you know the real definitive answer to that, let's talk afterwards, all right? I've got oceanfront property in Arizona. I'll trade you for that answer. I promise. I have it. We didn't sign up for any of the bombs that have gone off in our regular lives. I would go back to Iraq 10 times over than deal with half the stuff I dealt with outside of the military. You know, war has a purpose, right? It has a reason. Two groups of people trying to kill each other. There were 3 possible outcomes. You died, you got wounded, you came home in one piece. Luckily, I came home in one piece. Simple. It's real simple to rationalize that. Does it suck? Yeah, it sure does. I'll never forget taking my buddy's body out of the makeshift morgue in a body bag. His arm draped down the side on accident and brushed against my face. I was loading him in the helicopter to send him home. It was the last flight home ever. So it sucks, right? But no matter how much rational sense it makes, you'll never forget an event like that. And with that experience, I took away, I'll never give up on anything that life throws at me moving forward. I can't quit. How can I look at the parents, widows, brothers, sisters of my buddies that died and just go drown myself in a bottle or stick a needle in my arm? How could I do that and look them in the eye? Their family member never had a chance anymore. I don't think they would fault me. I think they would help me, actually, because that's the kind of people they are. But in the back of their mind, they'd be ashamed of me, right? And I can't live with that shame. Can't do it. So we as veterans, you know, that made it back, I feel we definitely have an obligation and a responsibility to live the best lives possible in honor of those guys and in respect to their families. And it doesn't just apply to veterans and what we've been through. It applies to all of you too. All of you that have been through something that even though you didn't choose to be put in that situation, you didn't choose to get blown up, right? You now have a responsibility to live out your best life despite everything that's happened to you. And all the other storytellers that are here tonight, they're doing just that. That's why we're here. But since I defined it in my life, I did manage to finish my degree. I'm highly successful in my career. I have a great career. I raised a wonderful daughter. She has a huge heart for people, animals, and everything in between. My son seems to be on a good path, but he's 15, so we don't really know what's going to happen yet, but I think he's going to turn out all right. He seems to be a pretty good kid. You'll probably meet him tonight if you hang out after. He'll shake your hand, look you in the eyes, that kind of, I've raised him good there. But Don't look at his phone. I wouldn't go there. My wife and I, we have a strong relationship due to the many bombs that have exploded in our lives. It's been not easy, but we get through it, and it's actually made us stronger. We give our time and money to different charities, which help fill our hearts. I personally served on several boards for some veteran nonprofits. We've adopted 3 German Shepherds, 2 cats, a thing called a Chihuahua. It's hard to see him as a dog when he stands next to our 2 purebred shepherds. But we love him. He's cool sometimes. If anyone wants a free Chihuahua, see me afterwards too. But my daughter's here. She might cut you. We do. We live our lives to the fullest, and we never know, and we know there's so much more we can and want to do. We've never let these bombs define who we are, both as individuals, as a couple, and even as a family. Because I'm supposed to be telling my story tonight and just lecturing you on how you need to, deal with your stuff. I want to share one final thing about me that's really brought me here today. So for my actions that day, I was credited with saving over 13 lives. Both Humvees were disabled. I had my portable radio with me from my 4-man sniper team, and I was able to call and help. I was able to ward off our backup that was coming down that same road where 2 bombs had gone off and get them off the road so they didn't get hit. Had they got hit, I think there was 13 people crammed in an unarmored vehicle, so it would have killed 13 people at least. And then we almost had a friendly fire incident that I warded off with being on my radio. So I was awarded the Silver Star for my actions that day, and that's the 3rd highest award in the military. You have Medal of Honor, you have Distinguished Service Cross, and the Silver Star. So it's a pretty big award. I don't take it lightly. Don't feel I really deserved it, but I feel it's something I have to. That's why I'm here, and I have to really kind of tell my story and tell my guys' story. Right? Only 3 other soldiers in the Pennsylvania National Guard since World War II were awarded the Silver Star. One of them died during his event that earned him the Silver Star. And the other one, my buddy Brian, who I got to know a little bit over the years, died of esophageal cancer a few years ago. So I'm the only surviving Silver Star recipient from the Pennsylvania National Guard. But like I said, now I feel I have the responsibility to carry on the legacy, which I only achieved because my buddies gave their life that day. I always say I was in the right place / wrong place at the right time / wrong time. Right? And they gave their lives for a cause they believe was greater than themselves. We joined the military for many different personal reasons, but we all joined because we love this country. We really did. We never discussed politics while we were at war. We never discussed why we were there. We didn't care. We just wanted to come home with the same amount of people we left with. And if we helped the Iraqis in some way, then that's just icing on the cake. You'll see at the end, I have some pictures. There's a lot of kids. I spent a lot of time in homes running these sniper missions and surveillance missions. And I always wonder what happened to those kids. They're all adults now, right? I had no idea what happened to them. And Iraq's not a country you can just go visit. Unless you want to get blown up. I don't think anybody wants to do that. So I wouldn't be standing here tonight if my Lieutenant Mark Dooley and my 2 teammates, Mike Egan and Will Fernandez, had not given their lives for me that day. And ultimately, them losing their lives actually saved lives. We learned from those mistakes. And my story really is their story, and I'd be remiss if I didn't honor them tonight. Most soldiers deployed, they write a death letter to their families in case they die, so they could have a goodbye message to their loved ones. I personally did not have a death letter. I thought it was bad juju. Maybe that's why I'm here. I don't know. Did God say he didn't write a death letter? He lives? Maybe. I'm not sure. But Lieutenant Dooley had a really good letter he wrote to his family when he died, and President Bush read it, parts of it during a Memorial Day speech at Arlington National Cemetery where he's buried back in 2006. And in it was the quote behind me. And I think it sums up the best when you want to honor veterans and guys that have died for this country. Those guys didn't know you, but they cared about you, and they fought for you, and they gave their lives because they believed in the freedom this country offers us. That's why we all serve. So just let that quote sit with you for a few seconds. So as you've noticed, there's been a common theme throughout my presentation tonight, and it's been the heartbeat. You got 2 guarantees in life. You're born and you die. And in between that time, you have a set number of heartbeats, and you don't know when your last one's going to be. So my question to all you tonight is this: what are you going to do with your heartbeats? I know what I'm doing with mine. Thanks for listening to my story. Good night.